All right, I usually don't do this with a flash, but it's a little dark out here. It doesn't look dark, but it is. Okay. So we're gonna try it with the light on the camera and hopefully not run my battery down doing it. All right, it's washed. It's got some scratches on it, but I went through these, feel and make sure there's not much more than just a scratch, and there's no creases, or if there's dings or very insignificant small that, you know, paint will take care of. So even these little ones through here, they don't have any depth to them. So all the belt rail, everything nice and clean. Corners are actually really good shape. There's no rot in them. No rot anywhere on this tub. This is a beautiful tub. And it being a little wet is gonna make it a little smeary as I'm kind of rubbing on it. But I've been telling everyone, and I know the person I'm sending this to first, and I just wanna make sure that they get the same advantage everybody else does when it comes to seeing it. So the photos tomorrow, which I'll do in better light, we'll give you a good idea on as well. So it shows a little damp right now, but windshield almost always has oxidation on. Those are absolutely beautiful. You can just really tell how clean this tub is. The top, this is another area that's notorious to rust out on, where the windshield clamps down. Okay, this is a seam you're seeing here. Normally these have a little bit of caulking in them. You know, sometimes they wear. So again, paint will take care of all that. The firewall, beautiful. A lot of times on CJs and YJs, I noticed that they get pretty dinged up firewalls just because they've been out on the road for so long. And maybe pulling motors, fender benders, whatnot. This is perfect. There's absolutely, the cornering is good. I don't see any, like, you know, you can see if it raised. There's scratches on these, pretty good scratches in them. But everybody, I always tell people, those are nice clean bolt threads there, nothing broken off in them. I always try to tell everybody how important it is for rust and torque pockets and blah blah blah, but I really don't ever guarantee paint, just because you're always going to have something on them, you know, scratches wise. This one's got a little bit more, and it's probably just from the decking unhauling it. But even like something like this, there's no, you know, this is nice and flat. I mean, it's through the paint, don't get me wrong, it definitely needs to be painted, but okay, all that nice and clean. All the lower rocker, nice and clean and straight. These are almost always beat up on tubs, it seems like, especially if they've been wheeled in hard. This whole load, as I said in the past few videos, came out of Cali. So the CJ one I just put up was supposed to be a perfect one, and I even found a little bit on it. So that washer is 4,500 PSI, and it gets through things pretty quickly if there is any weak spots. So the roll bar feet are in excellent shape. I mean, again, these are areas that you're gonna see usually browning, if nothing else, and there's nothing there. So this is perfect back here. It's nice and clean. Not only is it rust free, but it's straight. It's not all wavy. A lot of times these wheel wells, this back area, they get overloaded. People just throw stuff back there. It looks like they've been carrying their gymnasium in the back of their Jeep, and they just get beat up, they get warped, they get wavy. Nothing like that on this tub. This is absolutely beautiful, okay? And this is that browning I was telling you about. And the difference between browning, this is oxidized metal. This is just from bare metal. There's a primer here, but it wears through. I mean, metal on metal. There's nothing here. You run your finger over, it's nice and smooth. That's what we want to see. I mean, obviously we love just nice and shiny, but if we see anything like this, we want to make sure there's no material loss, so the integrity of the metal is not flaking away. That's what surface rust is. It's just you start getting that layering, almost like a mineral. That iron just starts flaking on it. So there's nothing like that on this one. That one hardly has, actually there's hardly anything on that one at all. Your box pockets here where your seat belts go. Normally we pull the strikers and stuff, but on this one it's no big deal. But again, those box areas are absolutely beautiful, both sides. I mean, just outstanding condition. And very proud of tubs like this. I take a lot of pride, and it takes a long time to do these. Not just list them, clean them, all that stuff, and obviously it does take that time because I've been saying I'll be having this done for a week. There's water sitting in here. That's because the plugs are in it. I usually pull these, but again, I just been short on time. This one's actually kind of hard. Normally these are a little bit more malleable, but I'll punch those out so we get the water drained. Matter of fact, I'm gonna lift it up on his belly anyway, so it's gonna dump out. But good news is there's no rust there. Almost all the original paint is still here. This one's got down to kind of the shiny metal with primer, but still nice and smooth, okay? Again, I'll put this up on its side and kind of re-video this in a second. and get these plugs out. I usually like to do them before, but okay. And then where your seats go, these often crack because they get loose and people don't bother to tighten them and then they rock on them. But these are nice and clean. 90% of even a grade A tub has got cracks here. And nothing like that on this one. So the cowling is nice and clean. There's no hail damage. A lot of times you'll see these get depressed in. This one might have a little bit right there, actually. Yeah, it does. You can kind of see it right there. Again, that's why I like to do these videos. So the good news from this one, if you do have something like this, obviously we'd like to not see that, but you can feel it from the bottom here. You can get up in there, and actually you can kind of see it, maybe even more so. Well, it's hard to see. But that's why I like to do videos, because you know, you might not catch it. I wouldn't catch it either in a photo. But you can get all the way in there, little mallet, tap that, left tap it back up, and that should just pop itself right back out. If a body guy has to do much to it, it won't be much, but it is there nonetheless, and I want you to see it as it is. So we'll discount a little bit. Stuff like that doesn't go down a lot, but we'll definitely get it, make it worth your while to mess with anything on them. Let's see, make sure this one feels nice and good. Yeah, this one's perfect. So that one feels good. Yeah, it's just right in this area here. So probably somebody jumped up on the Jeep at one time and sat there. There's nothing that supports those inside. You can see there's no support at all. And you'd be surprised what I see. That's the area that I've probably, you know, that or they set something. It could have been just they set something on the hood, whatnot. But I don't see anything else that would indicate, you know, it's not rippled up here or bent anyway like that. So it's clearly the hood didn't come into it. If it did, it's really easy to tell because these get bent real easy. This gets shoved back. You see creases here. Nothing meets at the seams. So looks like my little boys, my wife or my nephew, following my little boy down. I don't know if you can see the flashlight down there, but he is 4 years old, and I tell you, he is going. So, all right, it is dark out here. I'm gonna flip it up on its side, because once I put it in the dirt over there, I won't be able to get, well, I'll be able to get photos again, but it's just gonna be dirty on the bottom, and I just washed the bottom, so the bottom looks just as good as the top does. So we'll get it shown tonight, at least on the video, and then tomorrow I'll get some photos of the bottom. I should be able to highlight them with the flash pretty good on the bottom. So I always tell people this because I do that by myself. They're not that heavy. I wouldn't want to carry one across the yard by myself or even with two people. And I have before. They're not that fun to do, but they're just more awkward than anything. Okay, so I just flipped that right up on its side. No big deal there. So box in areas, and we're gonna go over this like I always do. We have 10 total torque pockets. Well, torque pockets, basically your frame to your body mount areas, okay? A couple things we're looking for. Obviously, we want nice clean boxes. We don't want any rust on the inside. We don't want any rust on the outside. We want clean threads. A lot of times I see on tubs, even nice clean tubs, especially when people are hastily pulling them apart, they break. These corner ones seem to always break, and sometimes the front ones. Not only are not broke, but you got nice clean threads in there. Be able to reuse those without any issue. Going down, the skirting is nice and clean, straight. Those guys get beat up a lot, and that kind of lips underneath the frame there and covers the gas tank hole up. And then again, nice clean. So, and while I'm down there, that corner, absolutely beautiful. Look at the wheel wells, just like the top, just perfect. No rust in anywhere in the seams. Okay, top. A little bit of paint came off there, but just want to make sure there's nothing there, and there isn't. So sometimes you'll see it at these seams bubbling up, and occasionally I'll see it, especially for some reason on the early YJs, you see it right here a little bit, but there's nothing here. And if you look at them, there's a support that goes down right there. There's two pieces, this and this. For whatever reason, the pinch welds there sometimes create a little bit of a spot where they trap moisture, but neither one of the sides there, these are perfect. That's where the flare extends in. If you do have a Sahara Jeep and you're wondering, hey, I got more holes than you do. Yes, you probably do. The Saharas do have holes, and some of the, not just Saharas, some of the trim packages that had those flares that go down here, they're easy enough to match and drill. And I'd rather have it like this, where it's blank for the guys that don't need it or don't want it, than have the holes, which oftentimes they are, and then having somebody having to patch it. I won't be able to answer, Mitch. I'll call you back. Okay, so, but let's go back to our torque pockets, because they're my favorite thing on our tub. So again, look at those threads, nice shiny. Okay, so we started off, we're going for 10. There's 1, 2, 3, nice clean channel all the way down, nice and straight. There's 4, okay, and these do move, they're supposed to, all of them do, okay? And that just helps align it when you're down, you're wiggling around the bolt and the bushing. You would not want that to be stiff. I actually had a guy weld these in place once, and then call me and tell me he couldn't fit the bolts in. But he did tell me he welded them. I was like, oh, I gotta knock that out of there, so. Okay, so now, what are we looking at here? It looks weird to me. Why does that look weird to me? Okay, so let's just stay with, I just did a CJ, so it's kind of throwing me. They're slightly different on the CJs. Although, for those of you who are looking, the YJ tub is exactly the same dimensions. There are some differences on them. Some of those being where these torque pockets reside, and the tailgate and whatnot, but I won't get into that because gentleman mainly looking at this tub has a YJ, or at least I believe it is a YJ, memory serves. So, okay, so we got 4, so now we're needing what, 6 more, so 3, okay? So we'll start at the front and I'll fall back here. So we got 1 here, there's your nice clean one. And oftentimes these are cracked. This is kind of a weak spot on these. If it is ever broken here, it's easy to patch. This one's not, it's perfect. Or if these ever break off, which again, I see these people break these off when they're dismantling them, and they're not. So pretty easy, you get your hand all the way back. Those ones are the easy ones, and that one there. So we got 6 now total, 2 there. And then we got our, and this is the hardest one to fix. Again, beautiful threads. This area is super hard to get into. It's fully boxed. You literally have to cut a hole, get in here. It's a floating, this one moves around just like the rest of them. Once you get into it, it's easy, but you got to patch the corner up, and usually it's hard to hide those. So, okay, now we're up to 8 nice clean threads once again. Okay, and then here, oh, here we go. So yeah, I did miss it on that one. So they're outer. So here's your nice clean threads here. So now we're up to 9. Okay, so don't get them confused with that top hole. It does not use, do not use that one. It's just kind of elongated. This is the same plate though, and I don't know if maybe at one time they did use these, but they're not even tapped for a thread. So. Okay, so it's that one, and then we should have, yeah, there's the threads. I just missed the light on them. So your threads right there, nice clean there as well, okay? And then these guys, also beautiful. Oftentimes people break them. Again, removing the roll bars. This is where the roll bar feet come down in the front. Absolutely perfect. That was kind of the shocker on that CJ I just listed. Hit it with the washer and started, this side was beautiful, but on the face of it, the side I was showing you earlier how nice these ones were, that area had pretty good chunk missing out of it, so someone will have to patch that. But for a CJ7 tub, that's still a remarkable tub in the shape that's in. It won't last. So. Okay, clean threads there for your 2 and 2 for your roll bar pads, and then of course your other roll bar pads that we were looking at from the top, there and there, and there and there. So I appreciate you spending some nighttime with me. It's way late where this video is heading, so I apologize for the late text, but you'll be also up 2 hours early, and I like to, just because it's been so busy this week, I'm going to get these likely sold and then put up on our hot shot list, and you'd be surprised at how quickly those guys get them out. We just had 2 tubs, actually 1 tub, 1 frame, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. They picked up last Friday and they delivered yesterday, so pretty quick. I mean, less than a week. And that's usually how it is. It usually takes a couple days to find the driver, see who's deadheading, find the deal, and then put it out. So, all right. Well, like I said, I knew it'd be late, but we got her done finally. And I will get some real nice photos of her in the morning. Just in case it doesn't sell, it will go live. So if you do happen to catch us on YouTube, always call. But usually when I list tubs like this, there is somebody kind of waiting in line for one. So if we sell this one, there'll be another one. I do have one here. I was going to try to video this one a little bit better. This is an early tub. This is a late tub. Both YJ tubs, both almost identical. Every way, really everything about them is the same, minus the way the battery tray connects to them. All right, so I'm not going to go into this one very much right now. It was a Sahara tub, and here's those holes I was just telling you about. So if you happen to have a Sahara or one of the trim packages, you're likely to see these nut certs These were factory, and it was that flare that extended over here. So hopefully this guy checks out as good. It looks like the bottom's super clean. I ran out of diesel on my hot seat, so I want to clean this one real well tomorrow and get the floor done. And then we got that YJ tub there, which I believe is a late as well. That's another black one. The only thing with this one is that even though it looks real bad here, this is actually, you can, matter of fact, but I can look at that. See, that's what I thought was going to happen. So all of this brown is all from these obnoxious side steps they had on this thing. So my hot seat will clean. This will probably not even look at all brown when I get done with it, but you're still going to have the holes there. Now, if you're going to be putting rocker guards on it, we discount for stuff like this, for modifications like this one has. Otherwise, this is a nice tub, and somebody will be able to save a little bit of money on it. It does have a liner in it, I believe. I think. Maybe not. Thought that one was lined, but anyway, it definitely has that, and we'll get this one cleaned up tomorrow as well. So you should see a listing on this one on our site. This guy here, which I still got to pull, looks like the heater box and a few things out of it, but otherwise, then I'll be done with tubs and I'll move on to frames. And I do have none of my frames up here. Matter of fact, we're moving all our tubs and frames this upper lot while we rearrange the lower lot, which is down there. And I know you can't see it very much right now. What a beautiful sunset we got though. And this is kind of a later one. So there's a TJ frame. That'll be a nice clean TJ. Those are just as hard to get as these old tubs are. Okay, well, I'll stop blabbing. I'm just super happy I finally got to this place, because like I said, I've been putting this off for the gentleman and him and his wife that know, they'll know, but for anybody else, you won't know what I'm talking about. But I've been saying since I've been back from California, oh yeah, I'll get this done tomorrow. And the shop is full time during the day plus the heat. So I only had really my nights to do these, and they just took a lot longer. Plus I set these up a little weird. I wanted to wash them on the trailer just because it was somewhat of a nice deck versus the mud, which is just going to spray back on itself. So, all right, promise that's it. All right, guys, thanks. 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Tommy, want to say hi?
Hi.
What's your name?
Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba. We started calling him Bubba when he was a baby. Oh, is that Mama? Want to say hi too?
Hi.
See, look, they're appearing from the dark. Like zombies.
Oh.
Now there's my little girl.
The youngest Jeeper.
She's probably blinded by this light on this thing. She's like 6 months, huh?
That's Papa.
And my nephew, who's staying with us for a few weeks, who's been a gigantic help, and we couldn't have done this last 2 weeks without this kid. He's 16 years old. He's got a really good head on his shoulders. So, all right, guys. Thanks, y'all.